Hello, welcome back. This is the February 2021 edition of The Light, a truth paper. It's a free online paper available on their website. Link is in the description. We are on page 15 of the February 2021 edition, and we are reading this article today, Marie Curie, the 1939 Cancer Act and the Legacy of Raymond Rife, written by Louise Small. We've all heard of Marie Curie and her prize-winning contributions to science, but not so many of us know who Raymond Rife is. Perhaps that is because the Cancer Act of 1939 made it illegal for treatments and cures to be advertised, offered or discussed outside of official circles unless by state-approved mouthpieces. The 1939 Cancer Act was partly designed to guarantee that the nation had adequate provision for cancer treatment with radium-based radiotherapy. Marie Curie had discovered an effective method for treating tumours with gamma radiation, but the radium required for the therapy was rare, a chore to extract, and very expensive. Supplies were squandered, and the government of the day wanted to ensure a sensible, appropriate use. A royal charter was established to provide funds for radium procurement, and the Radium Trust, along with others, was appointed treasurer and trustee. In the early 20th century, radiation was all the rage. It was promoted as helpful and healing and appeared in fashionable lotions and potions. It wasn't known at the time just how harmful it could be. Curie knew that Emil Grubb had successfully treated cancer with X-rays and speculated that gamma rays could also be beneficial. She was right, and by 1930 radium centres were commonplace, but suspicions arose about the toxic effects of the new treatment. Senator John D. Works had raised concerns in the US Senate in 1915. He stated that radiation had the effect of making cancers worse, and that many doctors thought the belief that radium could be used to cure cancers was a delusion. In the early 1920s, it emerged that women working closely with radium in a clock factory had become severely ill and disfigured due to radiation-induced tumours. In 1932, American billionaire industrialist Eben Byers was a famous casualty of Radithor, a radium-infused elixir. He suffered terribly with multiple cancers and died within 5 years of his first dose. He had drunk the potion 3 times daily, and the poison accumulated to a fatal extent. An autopsy showed that there was enough radiation in his body to kill 3 men. Both Grubb and Curie met their demise through excessive exposure to radioactive materials. Grubb made it to 85, riddled with tumours, but Curie died of leukemia at the age of 66 in 1934. In the same year, Raymond Rife successfully cured 16 terminally ill cancer patients in a hospital trial. Rife's treatment used electronic frequencies to cure disease. Such was his talent that he built a microscope capable of 60,000 times magnification and was able to observe how bacteria and viruses behaved unlike ever before. He discovered that each microorganism had its own frequency, and that, like an opera singer shattering a glass with their voice, the frequency emitted by each microorganism would be obliterated by a strong blast of a corresponding frequency. Since the frequency only affected the microbes it resonated with, other cells were left unharmed, and there was no danger of overdose. It was groundbreaking. There was a huge banquet held in his honour to hail the end of all disease. Insurance companies were happy to fund Rife, provided that he gained approval from the International Cancer Foundation. The secretary of the foundation stipulated conditions that Rife considered distracting, so the treatment wasn't approved. Rife's team flourished regardless, and he found sponsorship from a local businessman. They worked hard to find irrefutable evidence and solid statistics, as they knew they were up against massive resistance from the mainstream medical moguls. In 1938, Morris Fishbein of the American Medical Association made Rife an offer. The offer was turned down, and within weeks, Rife's laboratories were burned to the ground. In June that year, Rife was indicted on charges of medical fraud. During the trial, Rife's network were contacted and told that if they didn't stop using their machines, they would lose their medical licenses. One doctor had his license revoked, but most of them handed their equipment in and turned their backs on Rife and his invention. 2 were found dead in suspicious circumstances, and the others would later claim that they didn't even know who he was. It's a similar tale to that of Stanislaw Brzezinski and his anti-neoplaston treatment. Brzezinski chose to work with some of the hardest tumours to treat, childhood brain tumours, and had remarkable results. At a young age, he discovered a naturally occurring peptide that was present in healthy people but absent in cancer patients, and developed a successful treatment from his findings. In 1983, the FDA sought an injunction to stop Brzezinski from using anti-neoplastons in his practice. It was turned down, and Brzezinski continued his work, perpetually harassed by the looming spectre of the FDA. Like Rife, he had patient files confiscated and suffered constant interference in his work. He has been in and out of the courtroom, supported by many witnesses who are living testament that his methods work. People who have been failed by the orthodox medical system found healing with Dr. Brzezinski. This brings us to the double-edged sword of the only remaining part of the Cancer Act of 1939. While the government no longer needs to ensure the supply of radioactive material for the treatment of cancer, the advertising clause of the Act still applies. There can be no advertising of cures or remedies or offers of treatment for cancer outside of government-permitted channels. While this protects us from charlatans, it also prevents us from hearing about alternative remedies from knowledgeable, experienced practitioners. Perhaps we'd like to hear about methods of healing other than the traditional cut, burn and poison. The difficulty is that not enough official statistics exist for different approaches because they are rarely subject to huge expensive trials and results tend to vary from person to person. Not only did Rife cure cancer, but he also found that the mortal oscillatory rates, the MOR, for polio, tuberculosis, bubonic plague, anthrax and 20 other microorganisms. Scientists today are piecing his work together from the scant remains of his research, and Rife machines do exist, though they are not freely available. It's tough to filter through all the information available, but as usual, we should discern for ourselves and be allowed access to information other than that which governments and authorities wish to spoon-feed us. For more information on Raymond Rife and his work, read The Cancer Cure That Worked, 50 Years of Suppression by Barry Lines, or Lines, Lynes it's spelled. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that article and found it interesting. Go and do your own research. Search for Rife machines, Raymond Rife. And I will see you next time, and until then, take care of yourself. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.